Yo, you guys, this is Blacklisted the Abyss, and you're watching my review for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Season 2, aka JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, Episode 2. Now, with this one, Jotaro, he's going to Sky. This is actually kind of funny. The first time we see him in this episode, with the exception of like the recap, the 2-minute recap that they did in the beginning, the first time we see him here, you can like actually see through his body. Like if you look at his shirt, you can actually like see you can see like the sidewalk behind him through his body. It was kind of interesting. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that. No real reason, just thought I'd do it. Like I said, he was walking to school and he gets swarmed by these girls who are obsessed with him, right? And he doesn't care about them at all. He kind of finds them pretty annoying actually, but they like them. They like it when he yells at them. Every girl in this series likes when Jotaro yells at him. It's funny. And they just start following him actually. And he's walking, and we end up seeing Noriaki, right? And he has this painting of Jotaro, and he uses red paint to paint this slash over top of JoJo's leg, and he actually gets a legitimate cut, and it makes him fall all the way down this like huge Japanese flight of stairs. Like, you know how in Japan they'll have like these really huge staircases, like in freaking Rocky. Like, well, well, you know what I mean, right? In Japan, they have like these huge stairwells and staircases and stuff outside sometimes. And JoJo falls down one because he gets this cut on his leg, and he's able to catch himself using his stand and the branches, but still. He falls all the way down the stairs, and it was looking like some voodoo crap. Like it was pretty interesting. It looked like voodoo, but we learned later on that's not exactly what his power is. But after Jotaro gets up and everything, the girls are like trying to make sure he's okay and everything. Noriaki actually goes down and introduces himself. He's a new transfer student, and he gives JoJo a handkerchief, which has this message on it saying that he's going to kill him using his stand. And he doesn't notice the message though at first, but the dude's clearly suspicious. So Jotaro's kind of like trying to keep an eye out for him because he's clearly suspicious. And after this, JoJo, he ends up going to the nurse's office, but in between these scenes, we see a scene of Dio Brando, looking like a god. Like it was awesome, and he's pretty much saying that he's going to destroy all of Jonathan's family because they have this link. Because Jonathan's body has this link with his descendants and everything, so he just needs to eliminate all of them. So yeah, he's going to go do that. And then that's when Jotaro goes to the nurse's office after that. That's when he realizes what message Noriaki left for him on the handkerchief. And actually, right after he notices that message is when Noriaki shows up and takes control of the nurse. Right, so the nurse she just starts going crazy, talking about how this pen is actually a thermometer. All right, and then she stabs one of the other delinquents in the room. She stabs him in the eye with the pen. Right, so clearly there's something up with her. She's being controlled by Noriaki. You see this like little like tail thing coming out of her. Like it's clear something's like going inside of her to control her. And so the delinquents, they get freaked out by this. They run away, and the nurse ends up actually going after Jotaro next. That's when we find out. Well, we already knew, but that's when we get confirmation that it's Noriaki who's doing this. Noriaki's controlling her, and he says that his stand is called Hierophant Green. He also mentions that something like, while he's a human being, his loyalty is to him. So you can assume that that's Dio. And he also says that if you hurt his stand, the nurse will also be hurt. So Jotaro decides, well, how about I just drag the stand out and then attack it, which doesn't change the fact that hurting the stand or the nurse. But Jotaro doesn't. I guess Jotaro thought that the stand was like the puppet that Noriaki had, so he just didn't really realize that she'd still be hurt either way, which is what happens. Jotaro's grabbing Hierophant Green, but Hierophant Green ends up using this green fluid and using Emerald Splash, which actually pierces Jotaro's stand and hurts him as well, since damage is linked and stuff. But the nurse ends up getting hurt by, not by the attack, but by the stand coming out from her throat. It like messes with her. She's like bleeding out of her eyes and her mouth and stuff. So that was crazy. But JoJo gets mad about that. He gets back up. He starts talking about who's evil and whatnot. He starts talking about some of the stuff he's seen before, like some of the stuff he's done before, like beating people up there in the hospital, eating at a restaurant, but the food is bad, so he decides not to pay, like stuff like that. And they start fighting again, and JoJo kind of just dominates him. He kind of just dominates Noriaki there. And Noriaki's the one with blood shooting out from everywhere, and he gets knocked out. Causes this explosion throughout the school. All the windows break and everything, and all the teachers go down to the nurse's office to figure out what exactly was going on. And before they get there, Jotaro decides to leave with Noriaki, which, if those delinquents, like I said in my live reaction, which I will have at the end of this review, if those delinquents go and they say that, oh, well, it was us in there along with Jotaro and the nurse went crazy. And they're going to think, oh, well, Jotaro's missing now, but now the nurse is just like lying in a pool of her own blood. Like, they're going to think, oh, well, Jotaro must have done this. Unless there's also the possibility they'll think he ran away and she did it to herself, but he'll still be an obvious suspect in that. But like I said, for plot, like I will say in my reaction, for plot reasons, unless I take it out of my reaction, but it'll probably be in there. For plot reasons, they probably won't think about that, but whatever. Jotaro gets up with Noriaki and he leaves. He goes to show him to Joseph and get his opinion on the situation. And Joseph says that Noriaki is going to die in a few days. I have my doubts about that because if you look at the opening, you can actually see Noriaki in the opening fighting as a part of Team JoJo, I guess. And his hair is a different color now, unless that was just a change in animation that they did. But it's the same guy because not only is his hairstyle the same, but his stand is the same too. It's Hierophant Green. So it's the same thing. It's the same person. So I'm assuming what happens is that they remove that thing on his forehead that Dio is using to control him. And then after that, he came to his senses, and then he decided to get revenge on Dio, I'm assuming, by fighting with them. Which some of that you can see in the preview. They take the thing off his forehead, and he's like up again, and he's acting normal. So I would assume that that's how things end up progressing. And then we also see that Jotaro's mom is sick. She's laying in bed. So something happens with her. There may be some type of situation where in what happened in One Piece once was that there was this comedic scene where Sanji could hear girls crying in the distance or something like that. So he went to go help them, which you think, oh, that's funny. But in reality, what it was foreshadowing of him having hockey. So there's a scene here where Jotaro's mom, Holly, she essentially senses Jotaro coming. Pretty much, that's what happens. And it's funny, yeah, but I'm thinking maybe it means something else, and that might have something to do with why she's sick. So, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's that's in the episode. Yeah, so I'll give this episode an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a good episode. Most of it was the fight between Jotaro and Noriaki, and it was good. So yeah, that's that. Like I said, I'll put my reaction right after this. So yeah, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. They're going to do this every episode. 2 minutes, just 2 minutes just to recap the last episode. Dang. Oh my god. Yada yada does it. Oh my god. Menacing. How is it possible for Dio Brando to be so awesome? What in the world? Is she being both tentacle raped and controlled? Japan never ceases to amaze me. Dang. He just sat there and took it. At least try to dodge. What the what now? The green something? Hmm. Gotta have that fan service in there, right? What? Is she gonna like pull the snake out that way? Yeah. Oh my god. I don't even know what's going on right now. Now that I'm thinking about it, what didn't JoJo not know how to control a stand? Whatever. Hmm. What is this, Ishiyama? Hmm. Uh-oh. Ooh. Dang. Dang. Uh, Dang. Oh my goodness. Won't those two other guys, like, I don't know, say that JoJo did all that? After all, he was the only other one there, so, oh well. Plot, so, they'll probably forget or something. Next week, next week should be pretty good, so, yeah.